Hey guys, welcome back to SD Online channel. I hope everyone doing well, good and healthy. We'll talk about our next topic. What we have. We have completed almost basic topology as well as switching, and in this next topic we'll have to learn routing protocol, redundancy protocol and network security. So here we'll be going to talk here. The agenda of the routing is the RIP, AGRP, OSPF, BGP and redundancy protocol that HSRP, VRRP and GLBP, that is Gateway Load Balancing Protocol, and we'll be going to be discussing one by one in triple basis. So let's start with the routing. I already explained one my video that is comes under the IP routing, and this uh this this is cover this was cover almost we can say that 30% of the routing part, but we'll take it again. So if you are talk about the what is the routing, let's take example. You have multiple location. Let's take example. You have one location in US, another location in Pune, and you want to be communicate with their offices. That should be possible. A layer 3 device, it can be, we can say that router, the firewall or any layer 3 device that should be going to communicate to them. That means it is going to advertise or it will be going to be transmit the data one location to another within the network or across the network. So that's what we have multiple protocol to learn to transmit the data one location to another location. So basically it comes three types of the routing, that is static routing, that is will be going to one-to-one routing, and that we need to configure manually. Default routing, if you know about default routing, we are using for this configuring to access the or network or internet. So if you don't know what is the default routing, you can mention 0.0.0.0 to transfer all the traffic to the next hop count. And last one is dynamic routing, that is comes under the protocol we are using, RAIP, OSPF. So that protocol will be coming under the dynamic routing. So let's talk about static routing that I have mentioned already. That is, we need to be configure the static route. That means we need to configure it manually. It doesn't matter how many node or how many router you have, but within a network or within a topology, how many router you have, that should be configure the route manually. So that is the concept of the static routing, and it will get the some security because we'll be going to configure by who are the network administrator, and we'll be going to configure only particular network, so that will get the better security. And if you have the multiple router in across the network or within a network, so the bandwidth, if you are using, this is no bandwidth which is happening in the between the router. So that is the main advantages of the static route. And if you have, let's take example, 10 router you have and 10 plus router you have, and that is very critical to configure each and every route to manually. That's what we have the dynamic routing if for the use network. So static routing will be not going to be used for the use network because that is comes under so much manually work. So let's take example. Okay, that is the formula we are using for the configuration of the static route, which is IP route, destination network, subnet mask of the destination network, and next hop count, that is formula of the static route. Let's take example of this topology. This is one network, this is another network, this is another network, this is another network, and last one also another network. That means 10.0.0 20.0.0.0, 30.0.0, 40.0.0, and 15.0.0. Remember one thing about the router. Router is taking the information directly connected of network. Means is this router which network they have? 20 and 10. They have directly connected of the networks. So the information they are directly going to be stored in routing table like 20 and 10. But they don't have the information of the 40, 30 and 50 dot network. That's what we need to do static route, and we'll be going to be see the in some command. But here we need to be some needs to be take precaution while going to be traffic one router to another router. So the main things here only, the router is what router is doing. Router is storing the information of directly connected network. So I already created the topology. Here you can see the topology which is already mentioned into the diagram: 10 dot network, 20 dot network, 30, 40, 30 dot, 40 dot, and 50 dot 0 dot 0. I am using here /24, that I'll be getting 254 IP using. And as I mentioned, one network first will be not using because they are identified network ID, and last one is the broadcast ID. So here let's will assign some IP here. So let's go to PC. We'll be going to be use some IP 10.0.0.1, subnet maps 255.255.25, sorry, is /8. So by default it is taking, and the default route, that means the for this one, because the packet will be going to router gig 0/0, so I'll be using 10.0.0.10, because I'll be using route here because I have multiple network in there, so I'll be using 10.0.0.10. So here this is now /24, this is /8. That's what 255.255, sorry, 255.0.0.0. And I'll be configuring this one also, that is 13.0.0.1. By default it is coming. And if you want to be changed, you can change it /24 as well, but I don't want to be utilize more IP here, so I'll be using this one also. And similar way I'll be using for 15 dot. Okay, 15.0.0.1, 15.0.0.10. So I have assigned the all PC IPs here, and next here I'll be getting the router 1, router 2, and router 3. Why I need gateway this one? Because this PC is going to be route this traffic for using this router, and this PC is using for this one, and this PC is going to be used for this one. Now I have completed the part which is there. I'll be taking some fast uh, router configuration as well. You can say I will do it my own way. Config terminal, and I'll be checking first host name to R1. Okay. Now which interface they have? Here gig 0/0. So I'll be going to be interface gig 0/0 IP address. What is my IP address? 10.0.0.10, and I'll be using /8, that means 255.0.0.0. And okay, and then I'll be using this port 0/1. What is my IP here? 20.0.0.1, that I'll be going to use. But before I'll be using interface gig. I missed to use one command there. Shut, no shut. Now you can see it is showing green here because I have used the command shut no shut, and here the traffic will be going to initiate. So next, my motto is here. I'll be using 0/1. I'll be going to exit from the interface gig 0/1 IP address. What is my IP address? 20.0.0.1/8.255.0.0.0. Then I'll be using the command. Okay. Now I have completed router 1 configuration part, right? But you can see this is showing red only because we haven't done any configuration here. So we'll be going to this router. I will be going to know I want to be enable config. I'll be checking the host name R2. Okay, but I'll be checking the first port. What is the IP of this one? 0/0. That is 20.0.0.2. Then give it to that IP. Interface 0/0. IP address. What is my IP address there? 20.0.0.2 25.0.0.0. Then I'll be using the command and let's see. Yeah, it's green now. Again, what is the IP address of this one? 0/1. What is the 13.0.0.10? So I'll be going to be same router, interface gig. What was the port we have? Let's get check here. 0/1. Okay. What is my IP address there? 13.0.0.10 255.255.0. Now, okay. Now this also green because we have another network is switch. So that is IP and non-IP. So that is configuration is done. And I can see there is a third port is there for this router. So what is this one? Gig 0/2. What is the IP address? 14.0/0.1. So I'll be using gig 0/2 IP address 14.0.0.1 to 5.0.0.0. Okay, let's come to then. Okay, router 2 is over. I'll be going to router 3. We have already done this type of the things into the IP routing, but let's do for one more time. And I'll be checking the host name R3. Now I'll be going to interface. What interface I have? It is gig 0/2. What is IP? 0.2. Then interface gig 0/0. What is my IP address? 14.0.0.2 255.0.0.0. Now this port should be going to be green, right? Okay. Now the final is router is pending. Which one? Gig 0/1 15.10. 0/1 IP address 15.0.0.10 255.0.0.0. Now everything is completed IP part, and now if I want to communicate 10.1 to 30.1, it's not possible cause we haven't configured any type of the routing. Similar way, you will not get the response from the 50 network as well. Yes, it is destination unreachable. Now let's take example. For this router, we have 10 dot network, 20 network, but this router don't have the 30 network, 40 network, and 50 network. So we need to configure route. Then I'll be coming here, and that is the main thing we need to do here, IP route. What is the formula of IP route? Destination network. I want to configure for 13, right? First, I'll be configuring IP route for 30. So I'll be using the first IP route 13. Make sure while configuring IP route or static route, you will be configuring only network, not a IP. So I'll be using 30 network, my subnet mask of the destination. And what is the next hop count? For this router, my hop count is this one. Which one? 20.0.0.2. So I'll be using the this next hop count. What is 20.0.0.2? Again, I'll be using IP route command. Network for which one? I don't. Uh, Next hop count should be same, but it is going to be 14, and last one is 50 network. Now you you are thinking about why next hop count is not going to change, because the router, what are the information, routing information he will be sharing the all the information to the next hop count. That's what we have, next hop count only one, right? Now go exit and show routing table or show route. Let me check the SAPDL interface status. I don't want, and show protocol SNMP protocol queues. Okay, show running config. We can check. Here we'll get all what we configuration we did. Now we have IP address and we have IP route for this one. 30.30.0 routing information we have, right? Now same things will be going to be this router have the 20 network. You can see this router know about the which one, 20 network, 40 network, 30 network, but he don't have the information of this 10 network and 50 network. But here two hop count, right? For 10 network they are using this hop count, for 50 network they are using the two hop count. So I'll be going to be router 2 which is there, and I'll be going to be configure here IP route. First I will be configuring for 10.0.0.0 255.0.0.0, and next hop count would be what is 20.0.0.1. Okay. And similar way, I want to configure for which one? 50 network and outcome next hop count would be 14.0.0.2. Similar way, in router 3, he have 14 network, 50 network, but he don't know 30 network, 20 network and 10 network, and all of traffic is moving which next hop count, which one? 14.01. So go here, then IP route, configure for 10 network, 14.0.0.1, right? Next hop count, okay. This one is correct. And we'll be using 20 and same for the 30. Now all route is configured. Exit. Why this is command is not working? I don't want to be sleepy never and these things. Okay. Wait. IP route, I guess. Okay. That command will be showing how many routes we have configured. We have configured, you can see what is the yes, that is the static route. We have configured 3 static route for this router and direct connector network which is there located because router already connected which is direct connector network and sorry, the C is showing the direct connector of the network. That's what every router you can see, you will get the IP, so IP route, then all the information you have. Now all thing is done, routing is done. Then I'll be checking I am getting a response from the other router or not. Let's take example 0.0.1. Okay, it's not able to ping. Let's wait. Okay, it is request timeout because the packet we are sending for the multiple hop count might be maybe this will happen. Okay, right. I am getting the response right now for the 30. Let's check example from the 50 as well. So we are doing for first time, so my maybe it will take time to reach destination because this is let's wait. Yes, now you can do the say similar things from this PC as well for any desktop from the another network. Yes, I'm getting similar way. You can check for the 50 as well. So that is the static IP route. It doesn't matter how many router you have. If it's going to adding one more router also, will be going to be add some same route. But make sure what is the formula? Destination IP, destination subnet mask, and next hop count. For this router, for reaching this network, this is hop count. For this router, reaching for this destination, this is hop count, next hop count. So that is the all happening for this IP route. Now we'll be moving. That is static route. We'll be going to configure as a manually. Okay. Now, the next topic is default routing. What is the default routing? You can see where the router, or if you don't know what is the destination, simply you can configure 0.0.0, and the what is the information you have, transfer as it is to what is the our next hop count router, share it. But what is the advantages of this one? If you have the complex network or if you don't know the destination, you can directly share the what are the information have to next router, and it is improve the what are the network reliability, and it makes sure the packet is going to be reached that particular location. That means to reduce the packet loss. And for disadvantages, because you are using 0.0.0.0, that means they don't have the path and they don't have the destination, and that is the things is happening. Let's take example. If if you have the ISP router, and this is my customer router, and this is let's take example. I have Let's take example, this is ISP router, and this is my company's router what we have. And uh, let's take example switch and other device I don't want. So what I need to be used, I I have only ISP details router. What is the IP? Let's take example 1.1.1.1. So what I'll be using, the destination 0.0.0.0, and subnet mask also what is 0.0.0, and the next hop count will be what is the my next hop count, 1.1.1.1, to get the internet. So if I'm configuring this default routing, what are the system I have, I'll be getting the request, or I'll be getting the internet access for this particular system, because what information I have, I'll be passing through ISP router. ISP router will be checking to what are the routing table information they have, and if you're having the information of the okay, this is going to be internet or particular these things, they will be going to be check their routes as well, and they will be providing to the access to particular system. So that is the comes under the default routing. Now let's take example. You have R1, R2, R3, and which command you will be going to be use here. For R1 you will be using IP route. Default route is 0.0.0. Default routing subnet mask is 0.0. And for reaching, for R3, that is next hop count, next hop count. For R1 to reaching this out, this is the hop count. And for R2, this is the next hop count to the network. So if you don't know the destination, simply you can configure the default route 0.0.0, 0.0.0, and using the next hop count. So that is comes under the default routing. And definitely if you want to access the internet also, that is default routing will be going to help, and that is the command you need to be used for same things, IP route. But instead of this so destination network destination IP, you will be using 0.0.0, because you don't know the destination. So that's what you are using the default routing. And next hop count should be, you know about what is the next hop count, and this IP you can use. And what will happen in this section, the router will be going to check their routing information. If the entry is there, they will be checking, and if not, they'll be going to add as well. Now, the very popular topic, this dynamic routing. Now we it is totally about static route, because static will be going to configure manually, but dynamic we don't need to be configure manually. It will detect dynamically, means automatically. And if you have the multiple protocol or multiple router for the location, and you don't need to be configure the manual routes. Now I have already shown you how to configure the manual routes, IP routes, so destination IP and next hop count, and that will take the some more time, but I will be getting the some more security. But dynamic routing, what will happen? We are using directly RIP protocol OSPF, or what are the area will be going to define, and this packet will be going to be delivered. So that is will happening automatic adjustment. That means if you have the router for one or multiple location or multiple within a network, so what will happen? They will be designing their path their own. You don't need to be give them to the path to reach the destination. So that is the benefit of the dynamic routing, because the path or what are the network destination are, they will be selecting as per using the protocol RAIP, routing information protocol, open shortest path first protocol. That means OSPF, and depend upon this dynamic protocol, they will be deciding their path to, and they will be going to be reach what are the destination network you have. So that is the dynamic routing, and it is very easy to configure because you will be using the protocol for this one. And if you want to be select the best route, they are going to be select by default, or they are using the some formulas, or they will be checking some algorithm to reach the destination. But what is the disadvantages? It is less secure than static route, because static route will be configuring, we are configuring as a manual, but for dynamic it is going to be select by default, so that is will be getting less secure, and it is consuming more bandwidth to the communicate with the other neighbor. But static router, we are not using any type of the bandwidth. So that is the difference between static route, dynamic default route, and dynamic route. In next session we'll be going to be talk about the some different topology as, and then we'll be starting the RIF, OSPF, AIGRP, and BGP. So if you are getting any information here, please like and subscribe my channel. And if you have any doubts, please put in the comment section. I'll be reply that way. Thank you. Thank you so much.